Hi, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and today I'm going to be showing you the Godox UL60. This is a silent LED light, great for noise-sensitive environments. Let's take a closer look what this LED is all about. What makes this LED so unique is the passive cooling system that Godox has designed. If I turn this over here, you're going to see a bunch of holes into the case, and this is a full metal case as well, in the top and the bottom. And this just allows for a lot of air to get through this light. Inside here, if you were to take a closer look, you're going to see which kind of looks like a radiator actually. And that's just drawing heat off of the LED chip and dissipating it through those holes in the body. So there is no fan in this, which is why it's able to run silent. The other unique thing is that we have no controls in the head. So if you look at the back here, we just have a port which our control cable plugs into, but all the controlling, the adjusting of power, everything is done from the control box which we plug in separately. That allows this LED to stay light, compact, and get it up overhead if we need to. Here's a quick overview of what's inside the box. First, you're going to have your LED, obviously, and next to it we have our protective cap. When this ships, this cap is actually going to be installed on here, but here's an important safety tip. This needs to come off before we turn the LED on. If you plug this in and turn it on with this cover on, you are going to melt it probably within 30 seconds. There's a lot of heat that comes out of the front there. So this is just for traveling to protect that LED, and it comes off very easily. Just pull the release here, quarter turn, it pops out, and that's the same way we install any other Bowens accessory with that 3-prong. We just line it up, give it a quarter turn, and it locks in. So again, before you use your light, make sure that you pop that off and you are not going to run into any issues then. From there, we have our control box, and as I mentioned, all of the controlling of this light is done from here. We have our cable that is going to go from the light itself to the top of the control box. And if we are not going to use V-mounts, which we can do if we purchase them separately, we can use this AC plug, which goes into the wall. The nice thing about this is new technology from Godox. There is no power brick. With most other lights, there's a power brick. With this one, it's built right in, and you can see this just goes into the bottom and then straight into the wall. No power brick, which is really nice on this light because it is so small. You don't have that extra cumbersome cable to manage. So that's everything inside the box. Let's put it all together. So I've grabbed a Strobepro 9-foot light stand here, and we are going to mount the light. This will mount to any light stand. It doesn't have to be a Strobepro light stand. And we have two ways to mount this. So let's back off this thumb screw here. Normally we would mount this vertically like that, drop it onto the spigot and tighten it down. But sometimes people mount these on a rafter or they're getting overhead. And what can happen is when you have a modifier on there, it wants to hit this when you tilt it down. So I would go down and the reflector or whatever softbox I had would hit it. So you do have the option, you can mount it horizontally like that. And then that way you might get a little more tilt in your situation of mounting. But for us and most people, we are going to mount that vertically. Again, just pop it on there and tighten it down. Now if I spin this around here, you can see the big tilt knob here. It's very handy. We just loosen that off. We can control the tilt up and down really easy. Make sure you lock it back into position. That grips really tightly with the geared teeth there. From there, we need to connect our power box, so let's do that now. Here's our control box, and you need a place to put this, so thankfully Godox puts this little loop attachment in here so we can hang this off the stand, and it just retracts. Just pull it out. Obviously you don't want to rip that really hard, but it is quite secure, and then we can just hang it wherever we want, just like that. Next, we are going to need our main connection cable, and you can see there's two different ends. There's a male and a female end on there. So we have our connection piece right there. Just line that up, push it in. It's going to click in. To remove it, same thing. Push that button, pull out. When you do these cables, you never want to pull on like the actual cable back here. You're just going to degrade the life of the cable. From there, we have our top connection here, and we can line up the little hole on the cable with the release, put it in like that, make sure it goes in flush, click it, and now we are good to connect a battery. So if I grab a V-mount battery here, you can pick these up optionally at Strobepro. We have a 90 watt hour and a 190. This is the 190 here, you can tell because it's a lot wider. Basically, these would just connect to the back. They're V-mount because of the notch here. It looks like a V. Line the two V's up, push it down, clicks into place. And now we can actually go to the light power box here, or I should say control box, and turn it on. We're connected, there's no other cables we need. We're ready to start using this light right away. But what if you don't have V-mount and you don't want to make that investment? No problem, you've got the included AC power cable here, so let's use that right now. As I mentioned earlier, this is a really unique cable for this light. It's a direct to wall AC power cable. So from the yellow end directly into the wall, you bypass any power box or anything, which is really nice. So this one's a little bit unique. It goes in a little bit sideways there. So I don't know if you can see, but it's on an angle, goes in, then you have to turn it vertical and it's going to lock in. We have this big lock right here to release it. You pull it down, turn, and then pull it out like that. So just be careful if you're trying to put that in there. It's a little bit unique because of that angle that you put it in. But from there, we just plug into the wall and we're ready to go. We have a huge long cable on here. I'm not even sure how many feet that is. It's at least 12 feet there. And then we've got tons of cable here as well, so you can really send this up high if you need to, or stretch it across a room. We're going to mount a reflector now, and this is a Bowens reflector. I forgot to mention that this is actually included with your light, so you'll find that in the box as well. Now, along with this reflector, any Bowens mount modifier, so like a Strobepro softbox, a beauty dish, the optical snoot, whatever you want, you can get it with the Bowens mount, and it's really easy to install, like we showed you with the cover. Again, 3 prongs, line them up, give it a quarter turn, it locks in. To take it off, just make sure you have whatever modifier held securely, pull the release, turn it, pull it out. Really easy, and that's what's so nice about this light is that it takes Bowens modifiers. You can use your existing modifiers that you might already have, or you can start building in your collection. So there you have it, that's how you mount a modifier on the UL60. So the UL60 is really easy to control. Basically, we have this big control dial wheel down on the bottom here, and we can spin that and control the power just like that. So one of the nice things about this light, as you can see right here, is that it goes all the way down to 0%. A lot of lights on the market only go down to 10%. And if you're shooting with a wide open aperture, then that can often be too much light. So having that ability to go down there is just a nice feature of this UL60. So in its basic form, that's all we need to do is just adjust the power with that wheel, and you can control it from 0% all the way back up to 100%. If you would like to control the UL60 with the optional RCA6 remote, you can pick one of these up separately. At this point, guys, I don't really recommend it because you can pick up the free Godox app for your smartphone and do everything a lot easier just off of that. But if you do, we need to set the group in the channel, and you can see that's indicated by A and then the number at the top there. And we do that in the menu. So if I hit the menu button, and then I'm going to use the set button, which is just down in the middle of the dial. If I hit set, now I can rotate through the channels. I can set that wherever I want. Once I'm done, just hit that set button again. And now I use the rotate dial here, and I scroll over to the group. If I hit set again, then I can select whichever group I'd like by rotating the dial, hit set again, and then that's locked in. Now we'll just show you the rest of the menu features here. If I rotate again, this is the ID. So with the other controllers, you can use an ID if you're having issues with interference or something. I don't recommend using ID. I've never been in a situation where I actually needed it. Let's just get back into the menu there. And there's the ID. So if you had set, and then you can pick whatever number you want. But again, make sure that that is set to off, or otherwise you're going to forget, and then it is not going to connect to the controller. From there, that is our Bluetooth ID. So if you're connecting this to the app, you'll need to know what light this is, and you can see the list populate with that ID on there. And again, the menu will time out, so we just got to go back in there. ID, our Bluetooth, and then we are just back to our channel again. So that's a quick overview of the menu, how to set the group in the channel, and it's as easy as that. You can have different channel, or you can have different groups. So if you had two lights on your background, one on your main light and one as a fill, you could go the two on A, one on B, one on C. Just make sure they're all in the same channel. And then they will all adjust as necessary. This light also has the ability to do special effects, and we can do that with this FX button. If I click it once, you're going to see it's flashing off, but if I rotate through, you're going to go through all the effects here. I'm not going to spend much time on all of them. You have like lightning, you have simulated storms, you have broken bulb. There's a number of special effects here, enough to give you a seizure, so just watch that actually. One like this, it's supposed to simulate watching actually TV in a room. So you can play around with those. If you're not using them, just scroll back to off. Now the last button we have here is for DMX. So you can set your DMX channels here, and we would have to have the DMX controls plugged into the input and the output in the bottom of the control unit here. But if you are using a DMX controller, then you can set the IDs right through there. And there you have it. That is all the buttons we need to know about on the UL60 control panel. So another great way to control the UL60 is with the Godox Light App. You can download this in the App Store, the Google Play Store. And it's the Godox Light, not the Godox Photo one. If we click that, I'm just going to do a quick overview here. We have a whole video on this app separately, but basically I'm just going to add a quick studio. I can call it whatever I want. I'm just going to type in some letters there. And then I save that studio, and we go in there and we want to add a light. So if I go there, I can see that my UL60 is showing up. If I had multiple UL60s, I could identify them by just holding or going into the menu and seeing the Bluetooth ID. But I know it's that one, so I can select that guy, save it into my studio, confirm that. And again, for full detailed information, just go into our YouTube channel and watch the video. We'll link this below actually. So it's connecting right now. And I actually connected both of those lights by accident. But if I go into the UL60 control, we're going to see two things. We have our power, and I can control that just with this slide dial right here. I'll try to get my hand out of the way here. Just by going up and down. So you can see that's really easy. I can go all the way down to 0, turn it off, and really quickly go right back up to 100. Now the color tint and stuff is not going to work on this light because it doesn't have that feature. But if you happen to have like an SZ150, you would have color control and everything off of that. So ignore the color temperature. This light is going to be at daylight all the time at 5600 degrees Kelvin. So if I go back here, and I forget which button, there we go, special effects, I can just hit the FX. And here I can see a bunch of special effects that I can go to and just quickly change them. Not all of them are going to be available, but you'll have ones like this TV that will be. And I can control the speed of them down here. So if you want that to happen faster, you can boost it up. Let me just change to one that you might notice a little bit quicker, like a lightning storm here. So speed it up or slow it down. And I can control the power right here as well. bring the intensity down as needed. So that's just a really quick overview on how to use the Godox Light App. For full details, make sure that you download our other video and watch it on our channel. That's everything you need to know about the Godox UL60 LED light. This light runs completely silent. Here's an unedited audio clip. And you can hear there's no fan noise at all. So if you work in a noise-sensitive environment, you definitely want to check out the UL60, or if you happen to need some more power, check out the UL150 as well. Both options run dual power source, so you can run optional V-mount batteries available at Strobepro, or just use the included AC adapter as well. So check out all the modifiers that work with the Bowens mount as well. And until next time, I'm Jesse, and enjoy creating.